All right, we are live on Entrepreneur. Today we're going to be discussing websites, and more importantly, not just what websites are, but how do patients interact with them in the medical space. People don't want to just go to a website anymore and search for our phone number. They actually want to talk to a human, but most of the time a human's not present. And so they end up calling, it bogs up the phone lines, and the rest is kind of history. So just going to give it a few minutes as people straggle in here. It looks like we've got 15 people on so far. Welcome, Dr. Brill.
Welcome, everybody. It's been a little while.
It has.
Happy New Year to everybody and good riddance to 2020. So this is for optometric humor. So this is 2020 plus one.
Ha, ha, ha.
Very nice.
Do you have any dental humor?
Oh no, the best thing I got is the best time to see your dentist. It's 2:30, but that's fine.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's a solid.
That's so bad. It's so
Yeah.
good.
30. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
But you just want a distraction, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's all we got up our sleeve though. That's it.
Tried
So-
pulling my own tooth out, but my pliers weren't good enough. And I use that as a joke sometime where you say, people that treat themselves got a fool for a doctor. And I said, it's like trying to pull your own tooth out. You know how many people try to pull their own tooth out?
Oh, absolutely.
A lot.
Yep. Heck, if you wait long enough, it just falls out anyway. It's not
Yeah. I think you could have a little cardiac problem with that too. So
yeah, you tend to get infection and die from that kind of situation. So it doesn't go well. But
how's your tooth connected to your heart? I mean, so.
that's right.
All right. Well, let's get to know our audience a little. Where are you from? Put that in the chat, and then also tell us if you've been vaccinated. Yes, I'm just let's do an informal poll here.
Like
us
Everybody's taking the cool picture. I highly recommend that. Actually, I've seen a lot of people who are taking pictures of themselves getting it done, and a lot of people are looking to their doctors to see what kind of choices they're making. So the more that you can take a picture of yourself getting that done, I think it helps just the general public as well.
Yeah, we have Dr. Hungate. We have a lot of private Facebook groups for optometry, for opticians, anyone in the field, like massive groups. I'm talking like we have about, almost 2,000 people in our group, and there's other ones that have 10,000, 40,000, and there's many optometrists, holding it up saying, go get it done.
That's awesome.
What's the busiest dental group?
Let's see. The busiest dental group out there. There's a few good ones. There's the biggest and the busiest. The busiest now is probably one called Dental Nachos, which is, it's a funny name, but very cool. I think they do a good job at really, keeping it positive, because really the biggest one out there is one called Dental Hacks, and it's just full of trolls and pretty negative thought processes. So what happens is they start looking for other more positive, constructive groups, and that's what you're kind of seeing now is Dental Nachos has done a fantastic job at really doing that. There's a couple other really good ones too, like Dental Town is a good one as well.
Are we able to sneak on those for any management ideas at all? Or
absolutely, you guys are. If not, I can definitely sneak you on there.
Okay, that'd be good.
We have so much. We have a lot of synergy between dental and optometry. We deal with a lot of the same crap, and actually, one of the ideas of Dr. Brill here is we all have small practices, most of us, under 10 employees. We should be trading services like, hey, I'll do eye exams on your employees. You do dental exams on mine. Nobody has to buy insurance for that stuff.
I love it. Yeah, it's funny. The thing that we're working on right now, we're working with a really cool company called MedBar to try to set this up for all of our practitioners, both on the dental and optometry, side of things. What they found is they found out that, the people who are trying to distribute the vaccine, there's not enough doctors or nurses to administer it. That's the real loophole, because you have to go to all that place. So MedBar is doing a deal with the government actually right now. And then what's cool is on the side of Simplify is we're going to be looking for doctors who want to actually provide the vaccine in their office. Now, you might look at that right away and go, what the heck does that have to do with optometry or ophthalmology or dentistry at all? But what's cool is we're already prepping some really cool marketing that says, come on in, get your vaccine and a cleaning. Come on in, get your vaccine and an eye checkup. And what it is that they're just excited to go get the vaccine. Why not get why not get an eye checkup at the exact same time? And it gets them into your offices, gets them started. And really, if you're seen as the one bringing a positive light to the end of the tunnel, I think it's a huge positive as well. So we'll see where that goes, but check them out. They're called MedBar. They actually pivoted in the beginning of COVID because they were actually called Floss Bar. They were a dental group. They pivoted to MedBar to COVID testing. So they did remote COVID testing and they still do that. So now I was like, hey, if you can get, I don't know about people opening up their offices to do COVID testing, but at the same time, if you want to do vaccines, let's go. And she was all about it. So we'll see if we can pull it off. It'll be great.
Interesting. Yeah. If you have some communication, we can talk after the show and perhaps, get some group members that information. Well, let's hop right into things. Dr. Hungate, you want to give your 30-second elevator pitch, who you are, what you do, and then we'll hop into the demo. Yeah. And then after that, we'll go through the theory of online web chat. I use web chat anytime I try to contact a corporation, cable, gas company, anything where I know I'm going to be on hold. And it's generally super effective.
Yeah.
So, but who are you?
Yeah. Okay. So Dr. Ryan Hungate, nice to meet everybody here. Founder and CEO of a company called Amplify. And it makes a huge amount of sense on here because we end it with an EYE. So it's really nice and catchy for the eye community. I can tell you coming from the dental community, not so catchy. So, it's one of those things where I always have to explain how to spell it. So here, everybody should get it. Yeah. But, actually started off my history at Apple. Worked there during 2007, 2008 out in Cupertino. I worked directly for a gentleman named Ron Johnson, was responsible for the entire front of house view, which is what you get to experience at an Apple store. I was responsible for designing that. So I reported to Ron. Ron reported to a guy named Tim Cook and Tim to Steve. So it was a lot of fun while we were out there. And I got to deploy that system that you now experience of the triage walking in, routing strategically around, never leaving a person while you're in contact with them and really trying to move them out as fast as possible. You don't really experience that at an Apple store. You don't know they're trying to kick you out quickly, but we are. So it's kind of a funny thing. It's just really what I found there and what Ron really instilled in me was that you need to have a purpose to your workflow. And if you're going to do this in scale, which all of you are, whether you're one location or 500 locations, all of you are doing this at scale now. You need to have a lot of purpose with this. And really the only way we found to do this was with technology. So after going through dental school and all of my friends going through, ophthalmology and optometry school, because in Indiana, the optometry school is literally across the street from the dental school. And the optometry school is way nicer. Whoever you guys have as donors are way better than the dental donors. Maybe it's the eye thing. You got to have something good to look at. But basically, after seeing all that, you guys are so similar to the dental side. In fact, we're almost the exact same. And I like to call it retail healthcare, where we all actually care about a new patient walking through the front door. If you look at your local, family practitioner, they get paid X dollars per year, no matter what, whether they see 100 patients a day or 2 patients a day, it doesn't matter. Whereas this is where, oh, that's awesome. Somebody here knows Ron and worked with him at JCPenney. That's funny. Yeah. He went over to JCPenney right after Apple. There's a very interesting time JCPenney for him, I think.
He's bankrupt now. So.
Yeah, exactly. And I think he's doing something new now with like a Geek Squad-ish kind of thing, but genius of a person, very cool guy. But basically, we looked at that and we looked at people who care about new patients. And obviously the eye world is very congruent with the dental world, including, even things like med spas and plastic surgery. We're all very similar. We care about new patients. But when you look at a front desk team, what they do every single day is very interesting because it's a lot of the same thing. It's the picking up the phone line, scheduling the patient, picking up the phone line, scheduling the patient, dealing with insurance. And what's interesting is the things that they really need to deal with and pay more attention to is the edge cases, right? Those are the problems that actually need to help them out. But instead they get bogged down with, they're the catch-all of the practice. If something new gets introduced, they figure it out first, right? And then all these different things happen and they kind of get bogged down. Whereas we can start to take a lot of things off their plate, automate them, and actually make the consumer experience better.
What's
And
an
that's
edge?
what Amplify pointed out.
What's an edge case?
In edge cases, I tried to schedule something and you completely forgot about me, kind of thing. Or do you take Bob's insurance? What the heck is Bob's insurance? You know, looking up a benefits, or maybe the insurance came in short, or they didn't approve you for a certain procedure. Those are the beautiful things that they're smart about, and you can't create an artificial intelligence or a technology to really take care of that because it's so difficult to understand. But somebody looking at a schedule and seeing an opening in that schedule and being able to know where that block should go in a schedule, we can do that, right? Or even better yet, being able to represent a doctor's brand perfectly, where we can say, hey, this is why this doctor is cool. This is why you should make this decision, and helping them into that situation. You know, those are different things that we can help recommend. And on top of that, other pieces like revenue cycle management. Why do we have to have a front desk team member call and harp on somebody to pay over and over again, right? Make it easy for them to do this and they'll probably pay you, right? We make it so difficult that we still send out paper bills every single month to all of our patients, and we go, I can't believe they didn't pay me.
We've had webinars on emailing statements and even using mail houses. You know, don't do all this manual labor in your office. Let someone else do it for a fraction of the cost.
Absolutely. It's all about the technology to help scale. And what's interesting is a lot of you out there have had kind of a watershed moment where you lost your entire front desk. That's the other kicker too. And a lot of you, when you did come back, maybe you came back a little bit light on the front desk, right? Maybe you removed some assistants and removed some nurses, and there's different things that you leaned out, which is okay. But at the same time, we need to find technology to bring that pipeline back to what it was, right? That's the biggest thing that we got to talk about. And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today.
What I hear you saying is the front desk has a lot of things to do. And let's get some of the mundane things like name, address, email, phone number. Let's get taking care of that at the front end.
Yeah.
By using it's actually a live operator, right?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Live operator. So it's actually human intelligence rather than artificial intelligence. And is there a way we can get that operator on the other side doing the chat to be smarter?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
So
to be knowledgeable. I mean, let's say in a dental practice, that might be about, you know, can I get my cleaning or my filling? But can they discuss why you should have a Panorex every 3 years or something? I mean, how much information can we give them to get them to be smarter? So let's say we have a specialty dry eye practice, and people are going to be calling us or like, look at, I've already been to 7 other doctors, and that representative you have got to be a little bit smarter.
Yeah, you have to actually understand why dry eye is not just put a couple of drops in your eye and move on. No, you're absolutely right.
Can we make them?
Well, that's the best part. We can make them as smart as you want them to be. So what's nice is that, and I can show you. Yeah, there you go.
That's I was going to interject here and just say, I think we're going to go through it here in a minute, but
this is fantastic. That's
everything we promote through Entrepreneur Media. This to the audience, we are a customer of through Brill Eye Center. We test these things out, we vouch for them, and we want to be ahead of the curve. So
and we pay and we pay for them.
Yeah. So hello, like I'm gonna type this, and there's gonna be someone pop on here in a second. This is a live human.
Yep, there you go. So we respond within 7 seconds every single time. And so right now, let's see, he's talking to Albert. And we're very forward with it, right? We know exactly what we're talking about on this other side. So if they have a glasses question, what's really cool about all of this stuff is we know the different brands of glasses if you've provided those to us.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe you don't even provide glasses. That's another thing. A lot of, some people out there, if you're an ophthalmologist, sometimes you don't have a glasses clinic, but you have somebody that you refer to that we can actually put that in there. So in this case, what's nice is that they've asked us to refer us to a coordinator. But what's nice is that we're actually able to take that, and we're going to continue to ask and say, hey, can I get your phone number, email address? So we actually generate that lead and we get that patient coming in. That's the ultimate goal. And actually here, I'll go ahead and show you what happens on the back end. This is really cool.
Let's do the full demo here so everybody can actually get a clear picture of how
absolutely. So, you were showing that one. This is another one out there. This is Eye Surgeons of Indiana. They're typical, to what you were talking about, how they have a doctor there that specializes in dry eyes and those dry eye treatments. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Let's see. It's Dr. Let's see here. Let's see. He's the there he is. Dr. Damon Durker is his
Oh yeah,
name.
I know Damon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we
yeah.
all know Damon.
Damon's actually on Facebook Live with us. He said, big a fan of Ryan and Simplify. So
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, yeah. Dr. Durker, he's the man. We worked with him at the very beginning of all this, and at the very beginning of COVID, and got them set up, and they've been killing it. And what's cool is I think they actually looked and they were like, hey, we can improve our phone center a little bit after this, which is kind of fun. So yeah, we've had some really good turnouts with them, and they're a really large clinic, and you can see it there. That's their new clinic. They have surgery on one side, and then they have optometry on the other side. And they absolutely kill it with what we're doing. So I'll show you what it looks like on the back end, though. This is pretty cool. So this is recording. So we're HIPAA compliant, so I can't show you exactly what's going on live, but this is a live chat, what you're seeing. And what's nice is a lot of people say, how the heck can you actually represent my brand well? That's the question. Can you actually pull that off? Well, we have your entire survey. You fill out a 33-question survey, which is basically 90% of the stuff that we're going to be able to answer at the front desk. And you're going to answer that on the right, and you can see everything here. See, so I can search, I can pull this up. It's right there. Now, anything that you guys actually do that is not in the survey, we can also add that up there to the actions and alerts section. So if you want to call them reservations instead of appointments, because that's what you do and that's your brand, we'll do it, right? If you have a separate scheduling link that you have some weird thing, we can actually present that to the patient or even click on it for you and schedule them through that too. So at the end of the day, the biggest thing that we're trying to do is just augment exactly what you're doing already. But at the same time, we're opening up a brand new channel of communication because we're available 24/7 on your website.
to clarify, these are not bots. These are
No.
actually humans. And they can't memorize 50 different offices. How are they actually pulling this data to make sure they're answering it correctly?
Yeah. So what's nice is when the chat comes in, it kind of rings in. It was at the very beginning, it rang in kind of like a phone call almost, right? So we have over 200 people chatting 24/7 all throughout the United States. They're all either current or ex-front desk human beings, and they've all been educated on eye terminology and branding and all that good stuff. So if you want to talk to them about weird, the brand new, most recent dry eye treatments, we've had to learn, obviously, and some of them have been through the, your website, and then also Eye Surgeons of Indiana, and then a bunch of others that we had, but we get better and better and better. If you have something that they've never done before, we can actually put that in there. Like there's a brand new surgery that Eye Surgeons of Indiana have in there where they put something in there and then they use radio waves to like manipulate it over time, like over multiple visits. I don't even know what it's called myself, but our chatter do. Say what?
RF, right? Dr. Brill?
Yeah. I think that's what it is. So the other thing I want to point out really quick is check this out. A lot of people are like, how the heck do you like answer that quickly? See this down here where we can actually see where it says, yes, I would really like to know more about veneer. I can read people's minds. So I can actually see what they're typing before you hit enter, which is cool too. And on top of that, just to double check on everything, we do 5 random audits of all of our chatters every single week. They either get bonused or decommissioned based off of that. But, I can tell you from experience, we've
Well,
never
you have
had
a lookup there.
Say
So-
what?
So you have a lookup there, and it already has the information in there?
Exactly. So that survey is specific to your practice over there. That's the cool part about it, is that it automatically comes up. So everything that I'm looking at right here is just for that specific practice. So they're in the
You
zone.
already put in there something about the light adjustable lens then.
Yep, exactly. You've already told me that. And what's interesting is the one thing we have to tell practices, and I'm sure your practice and Eye Surgeons of Indiana was no different than anybody else, is that you can be as detailed as you want. Everybody always starts out real high level. They're like, there's no way they could think about this. Nope, give me the nitty gritty stuff, because we get better and better.
You're right, Dr. Hungate. We began with you, I think 45 days ago. Within 15 days, we're like, okay, these answers are too generic. Like, patients are still asking more questions. And then we tell us about the chat transcripts. So you can see all the chat transcripts, and then it's a healthy habit. Once you get enough chats, go look at them, see what patients are actually asking, and then you can get into that nitty gritty, more granular detail.
Well, it's also amazing because people will actually tell our chatters things they won't tell the doctor.
Oh,
Because it's embarrassing, right? Like, it's just one of those things where if I look at you face to face as maybe a baby boomer, I don't know, or anybody else out there that just is scared of the doctor, which that's me, by the way. Like, I'm a little bit scared or more hesitant to tell somebody something in person. Over the chat, I don't have to look in you in the eyes. I'll tell you whatever you want to hear. So it's amazing what we actually pull down from these transcripts. And Perry's absolutely right. So what we do is, first, training is super easy on this. So a lot of you might be looking at it, and the next question you're going to ask is, okay, can my front desk actually handle this? And the answer is yes, because what we do, and I'm going to train everybody on this webinar right now. Do you know how to open an email?
I see. Yeah.
Answer, congratulations.
Let me ask you before. So
Right.
how many of these you say that some is, I have a crush on Damon Durker. Is he married?
Right. Well, hey, depending on the answer he wants me to say, we might be throwing out his Hinge link on here. Like, who knows?
Okay,
So,
just check in,
yeah,
swipe left or right, or what do I do on this? So, okay.
that's right. Hey, as long as it's not a clinical recommendation, we're good.
Yeah, okay.
It's a great question, though.
I like the beard. I don't like the beard,
I like it. So basically,
I have the beardless guy here. So, okay.
oh yeah, that's right. You're the only one on the call now here that doesn't have this. This is in right now.
Damon said, "Don't give me any ideas."
So basically, what you were talking about, Perry, is that one, we make the training really easy. It's 10 minutes or less. Do you know how to open an email? If the answer is yes, congratulations, you're trained. Right? Literally, that's it. So we fit into your existing workflow. Like, I don't care how big your practice is, we fit in that. Because if they're checking their email, I tell you, I don't want you to have an extra screen up. I don't want you to have to do anything extra. If you get an email from us, you click on it, and what happens is that you have a magic link. It's really cool. So you click on that, and it will automatically open to the right patient and show you exactly what you want to see. So here you can read the entire chat transcript right there, right? And once you start to actually trust what we're doing and everything, then what you can do is we make it even easier for your front desk. We pull out all the good information and put it over here, right? So here's the reason for the chat. They want an annual eye exam. Here's their phone number, email, insurance provider, right? Patient date of birth. And then on top of that, for all the marketing gurus out there, we actually double check where they came from. So a lot of people, like if I tell my parents, hey, go check out this website, what they're going to do is they're going to go to Google, type it in, and then click on the first result. So you as a website, you get the positive, the false positive that Google sent you that search result, where really it was somebody else. We can actually ask and say, hey, who referred you in? And they'll be able to tell us. So it helps you on the marketing side. On top of that, we even integrate with your Google Analytics. So if you do have pay-per-click ads, we can track it from start to finish to actually see when they actually schedule. So,
how do you tell that? Go into that a little more.
Yeah. So basically, a lot of people, when you have pay-per-click ads, a lot of doctors will say, hey, I'm paying $1 per click. This is awesome. I'm getting $1 a patient. No. It takes about 300 of those for one of those to walk through your front door, right? You need conversion on the other end. So what happens is people who are actually doing your marketing can tell you, hey, like I'm generating a huge amount of leads for you and it's working really well. What happens is a lot of those leads will get there at 9 o'clock at night or 7:30. And then we're relying on them to call that big fat phone number in the top right corner. And when they do call, a majority of us aren't even open. So what happens is that we're sitting there kind of at the end of the day going, hey, or even during the day, because when you live chat with somebody, I'm sure all of you have done it now, you can multitask, right? So that's the other thing. Like I can be working at 12 o'clock noon and schedule a dental appointment or an optometry appointment at the exact same time, which is pretty cool. So what we can do is we can track that click from start to where they're over here and they say, hey, I click on this pay-per-click ad, or I click on this Instagram ad that you've done. And then it goes to your website. And then after that, they chat with us. And after that, they schedule. I can then give feedback to Google Analytics. We automatically do this. It's built into the programming.
Right.
It tells you that ad actually resulted in a person scheduling instead of just hitting your website, which is pretty special.
You can call to action.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
Dr. Hungate, how do you know, just from your studies and results here, how do you know people actually want to chat versus call us versus or submit a contact form? How obviously there's a fee for this stuff, so we have to make sure we're monetizing and not just for cool factor.
Yeah. So really the biggest thing that we've found is that it's funny, there's this universal number and it will sound small, but it's actually gigantic. So the average optometry website will get almost 200 unique visitors to their website every single month. Okay, that's the average. So if you are, actually, I shouldn't say average, that's the low end of things.
Yeah, that's super low.
Okay, now
Super.
is that geolocated? Because I'm very popular in LA for
Yeah.
orthokeratology, and I think, well, that was kind of a waste. And they want to know, can I come in? I'm thinking, you're probably not going to fly here.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And I think, that's the one thing you'd be surprised about. And then also our chatters can even screen for that. So if somebody is messaging in from, Nova Scotia, you can be like, hey, when are you going to be back in the States? We'll actually ask them. But at the same time, one of the things that we look at is that we found that no matter what the number of visitors you have, there's this magic number that almost 5% of the people that come to your website will chat with us. Okay.
that's all.
Say
That's
what?
all? That's all.
Well, it depends. So it depends what your call to action is. So if you are one of those that are referring to it and you're putting it like right in front of everybody, it skyrockets. But always 5% of those people. Now you say that's all, but that's what's funny. So if I have, let's say you have 1,000, people hitting your website a month, which a majority of the people I guarantee on here and in your Facebook group do. If they do even a small amount of search engine optimization or Instagram, whatever it might be, they'll have that. Okay. So if it tells you anything, I believe we looked at the eye surgeons of Indiana and they were over 13,000 per month. We looked at it and we go, oh my God, this is going to be insane. And if hopefully Dr. Durker will like this, I'll show you some cool numbers that they have. But basically what we do on top of that is now if that's 5%, then we convert, and this is what's so special. Those email forms that you have, when people engage with that, only 11% of the time do they ever finish. And that should really rock people's world. And the other thing is that if you're getting 1,000 unique visitors to your website a month, they didn't get to your website thinking it was ESPN.com, right? You didn't come up second in the ESPN ranking list, right? They were looking for an eye doctor. They clicked it, you were the winner, and then you just sucked at converting them, right? That's the honest truth of everything. So how do we fix that? Well, we have to make it so we answer those questions, or even better yet, when they click on that email form, why aren't they finishing it? You would think they would finish it. Well, it's very manual and there's nobody coaxing you through it. So what we did is we started to turn that on and we went from 11% to 52%, which is insanely high. When you look at marketing conversion, there's nobody higher. Like we're literally almost 4x to 5x the standard out there, which is pretty special.
Let me add to what you're saying. People do not finish contact forms. So we have a contact form on our website. The most frustrating thing is sometimes people don't give you their phone number. They don't tell you why they're contacting you. And then we have to go through an investigation when we call them. And rather than you guys collect all the facts, I'm here because my contacts aren't working. I need to come back in. And now we know who should call them. Should be the front desk, should be Courtney, the tech. Like, let's skip all the steps. So walk us through here. We get a referral, and then one of the big things in optometry that happens is someone calls the front desk with a task, and then let's say I need to order more contacts, and then the front desk has to tell the technician to order more contacts, and then nobody knows if the task actually got done.
Yep.
But you guys have like a delegation program here, right? So you create a task, you know if they got completed.
Yeah, we do. So basically what happens is if you have a follow-up with this, which a lot of people have multiple people on their teams, a lot of times I'll get into this and go, okay, I need to call this patient and confirm whatever it might be. Well, what's nice is I might not be that person for that. So here I can say, at Kelly. So for all of you Saved by the Bell fans, we'll say at Kelly Kapowski, please, follow up with patient on dry eyes, right? And what's cool is we've got all the good spell check stuff too. So now I click save note. What's cool is Kelly is instantaneously going to get an email, and that's actually going to create that as well. And like you were saying, it even takes it farther. So I can say like, look, it's follow up. I already sent an email, save status. And now when I go back to that dashboard, there they are. They moved over here.
So as a manager, or the doctor's managing the practice, you can go into the Simplify portal and you can actually see, are the tasks getting done or not, which I think is super helpful.
Yeah. And on top of that, you can also see all of your details. So you can see all the referrals we've sent to you. You can see why it's worth it. And we'll talk about this a little later on. And you can actually see if it works for your practice, because we always, we set you up with trials as well.
Yeah.
So
let me ask you, Ryan. So are we able, are your people able to say, hey, watch this quick video or something like that?
we're able to pass links through. So if it's something that you want to explain dry eyes, we can actually pass that to them as well. Absolutely.
So we can actually have, I don't want to do a generic one, but we might want to do, hey, I'm Dr. Brill. Glad you chatted in with us, and I'm happy to give you more information. I really want to talk to you in person. So watch this a little bit and see if you have any questions. And, can you do that?
Absolutely. Yeah. That's what's so cool about it, is we can say, after you've gathered, name, phone number, email, something like that, which we always try to prioritize that. Then what we do is we say, next step, pass link to view video. They click on the video, they like it, they go, cool. Now I can talk to them about whatever else that I need to talk to them about.
So this is all HIPAA compliant though, right?
All HIPAA compliant. Yeah, absolutely. And that's another thing that you need to be able to do out there. So no matter whether you look at Simplify or anybody else, you need to have that HIPAA compliance side. And the reason we do the emails the way we do, and we don't just send the email with all the patient information, is that would be a HIPAA violation, right? So that's why we have that beautiful dashboard that makes it easy for you to contact it. And by the way, that can work on your desktop, laptop, tablet, and your phone. So you can have it right there.
Okay, so can we initiate that? So let's say we want to actually talk to by video, not exactly about telehealth, but can we initiate the call, or do they have to initiate the call?
So they are usually the ones that initiate the call, but we also have the ability built into our system that you can also do telehealth. So if you want to, like he's in his board right there, when we enable what we call Connect, you can actually schedule a telehealth call with that patient, and your front desk can do that too. So if you want to do telehealth, we actually have that built into the system, and you actually get it for free, which is pretty neat.
Cool. So let me tell this, Barry. So what I always want to do is, we do these pretty elaborate dry eye workups, and Damon will chime in here, and we get through a lot of information. I can go through it fairly quickly now. And what I'd like to do, let's say, oh, I don't know. I got to ask somebody else.
Yep.
Okay. So I had someone who was 44, and she's hot, and I've got to ask somebody else. So she came with her father. Okay. And then after that, with her father, she says, we have to ask my mother. So I'm thinking, oh my God, how many times do we have to do this? So, but it would be cool if we say at the end of the exam, say, you know what, I know we went through a lot of stuff. I'm going to send you a quick video through this chat, or you could log on to it in some way. And I'm going to summarize everything. That way everybody watch it. Okay.
Yeah.
And then chat, then go back onto our site and chat with us and schedule an appointment. Are we able to do that?
Yeah, you are. You can absolutely do that. Yeah.
So that would be cool, because I think they forget 97% like right away. And
yeah, it's out the window. Yeah. And they're probably shaking their head.
And they come home and they say, what did the doctor say? And they say, I said something's wrong with my eye and I need to spend $2,000 to fix it. Okay, well, what did he say? He said I had bugs on my lid, and he said, I don't know, something like $2,000.
Yeah.
Or more. I don't even quote it that much, but he said, I don't know, it's something like I can't send the kid to college. I've got to get something.
Yeah, that's all I hear. I can't have my boat next year. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Yeah, and Perry's got his actual dashboard.
Yeah, I wanted to tell you, I'm hiding my patient data. That's why everything's really zoomed in right now, guys. So you can see this is from November 18th to January 5th. Obviously, between Christmas and New Year's, there's not much activity going on. So we have
oh, that's not that many.
Well, that's what's surprising, is that though it's so cool about that is we have a total of 14 hours worth of chats, and the average chat duration was 11 minutes. Wow. So a lot of front desks will look at that and go, I wonder if they're saving me any time. Yeah, we definitely are. And on top of that, when you say 33 referrals, that's 33 new patients that we've sent walking through your front door, which is
maybe, in all honesty, maybe, because some of them are just want to know about their glasses or.
Well, so that's another kicker too, is that is the referrals that we're counting here. So we had, if you look down there at the bottom, it had 79 chats. So there were probably some just generic questions that people had along the way. Those 79 chats resulted in those 33 referrals, which is pretty cool. And I'll show you, actually, I'm going to share my screen. If we've got Dr. Durker on here, we're going to show off his place. So this is what's really cool. So you can see they started with us back in, back in May, I believe. So right off the bat, and they're pretty large. So you can see here, they have 37.5% conversion, right? So far, they're averaging almost 50 patients that we're sending them every single month, which is pretty cool, right? And you can see it's like clockwork, how it happens, and their conversion rates are going up. Now, this is the fun part. If you're wondering when it happens, this is pretty neat. So this is when the chats come in the hours of the day, and this is when the actual patients that we've ended up converting show into the hours of the day as well, which is pretty cool. And if you're wondering new versus existing, this is another thing that they're very interesting on, is that they have about 65% new patients, but they have a lot of existing patients that also want to use that chat, which is pretty darn cool. So yeah, that's kind of usually it's about an 80-20, 80% new, 20% existing. But right now, they have a lot of that. Now, the other question that a lot of you will have at the end of the day is, is this age specific? Will people use this, who are like, oh, all the young people will hop in here, whatever. No, I mean, think about this. A majority of what their clinic sees is dry eye and glaucoma visits, right? So, it's not relegated to just young people. People just don't want to talk to people on the phone anymore, right? That's kind of what it is. It's, we're used to texting. We're also used to wanting to get back to our day, right? Get up there. I didn't come to your dental website to hang out. I came there to actually get stuff done,
Yeah,
Right.
they're at work and they don't want to call, so they want to do it electronically. So
yeah, a couple people have some questions here. So one of them was, how many OD clients have you worked with, and do we have access to information generated from other clinics? We have some really cool white paper studies that we can provide for you. So we have those data. We don't make other clinics data readily available to everybody else, but we definitely can provide that. We've got just over 300 OD offices now on there. And we really just, what's cool is we're new to the scene on the eye clinics. We got pulled there. We started in dental and we moved to the eye clinic upstream to the eye clinics because it worked so well. Eye Surgeons of Indiana was one of our first ones on there. And we've obviously added quite a bit from the COVID piece here, but I think a lot of people are seeing a lot of value from it right now. And then in the future, it's just move things forward very quickly. Then the next question is this email communication only within the office? No, so we have a few different ways that we can do that. So we can notify you by email. We always do that so it gets your front desk ready to go, right off the bat. They don't have to learn a new technique. But we also have desktop notifications and also SMS notifications as well. So if you're one of the people that wants to be notified by a text when you get a new patient, we can do that too. How do you know they're a new patient? One of the ways that we do it is we ask. The other way is if we have an integration with your electronic health record system, we can actually see that too. So that's another good question. Is this web-based only or SMS integrated? So right now, we only do it on web, but you can use it on your mobile. So it's mobile ready. 70% of all of our browsing comes in from mobile websites. So you'll be able to use it there, and it continues on. So if they would jump from their mobile device and do other things, we follow them through, which is pretty cool. Let's see.
What about Canadian optometrists? Can they use it?
Absolutely. Yeah, we have a huge amount of Canadian partners. If you live in Montreal, up there in Quebec, we can actually do French first. We speak 8 different languages. So some of you might be down south or really anywhere, and we need to add Spanish. We do that.
What about Jamaica? Can they get it down there?
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. We're really the only people that we haven't integrated with yet is in the EU, and just because of their stuff. But later on this year, we'll be ready to go to the European Union as well. We have people in Canada, everywhere in North America, Mexico, Australia as well. So if we've got any Australians on there, we're good to go there too. But yeah, absolutely. You should hop on. Somebody should hop on the website and try it out.
Australian English?
Yes, sure. We'll try to put that accent on there.
Yeah.
So another shrimp on the Barbie.
Yeah.
What EHR systems do you integrate with?
Cool, great question. So eClinicalWorks is one of them. Advanced MD is another one, and I hate it because there's a couple of eye specific ones off the top of my head, and I am blanking on them right now. But there's 2 eye specific ones as well. So, but yeah, what's nice is that we can get up and going with anybody right off the bat. It doesn't have to be compatible. When we do have that integration, though, we do have the ability to actually write directly to your system. I'm not sure if it's CompuLink, but I can look. But if we do have that, what's nice, the only added benefit, which is a big one, we can actually write directly to your schedule. We can read and write directly to your schedule, which is nice.
How about Crystal Practice Management?
That might be one of them, because I think that's a bigger one. Yep.
Barry, do we have that integrated?
Not yet. Yeah, not yet. We need to though.
Yeah. So there's another QA that Deanna had. Does someone need to physically respond to the patient's online web chat, or can a robot do it all? I'm sure you're already going to answer this. So, so basically, what we've done to fix this is we have real live human beings that are answering, obviously. But what's nice is, and I'll just show you, there's a lot of different chat services out there, and there's a lot of them that you can actually do yourself, right? You can set up your front desk to do it. The average response time of a self-manned front desk is about 43 minutes. And our average response time is 7 seconds or less. And when it comes to one of the biggest things that people have, and I'll show you a quick slide on this, is that it's all about time to answer. That's everything on this. There's a reason that Amazon has a patent on the one-click buy. I don't know if anybody knows that, but Amazon has that patented because you don't think about it twice. You want instantaneous gratification. You want that done. We need to start thinking about that more and more as practitioners and practice owners. We need to be able to get in, get out, give them what they want. If that makes sense to everybody. So, I highly recommend having a chat no matter what. I also recommend doctors being very real with themselves, because a lot of them will be like, no, my front desk can do it. Ask them before you do that, because they will. They'll start out hot and heavy.
So, question for you.
Yeah.
I've heard this response before from practitioners. They're like, oh, well, you're just deferring all the work later because it's going to create a task and they still have to follow up with some of these patients. So can you answer that objection?
Say that one more time.
So people are chatting in, and then obviously a lot of stuff we do needs human intervention because it's very specific. It's not just like, hey, what are your hours?
Yep.
So by people chatting in, are we just deferring that work to later, or are we actually satisfying people's needs?
Yeah. So great question. So both. So basically, we're definitely satisfying their needs. So you'd be surprised at all the information that we can actually relay to that patient. Now, a lot of people will say, okay, if you can't integrate with my system and you're still giving them an appointment, how does that work? Because a lot of times you'll say, hey, what's your name, phone number, email address? What day do you want to come in? And we know your hours, right? We know your days. And they go Wednesday. Okay, do you want morning or afternoon? And they go morning. Fantastic. We confirm all appointments by phone. You'll receive a call, very soon. And we usually give a time frame that you guys are okay with. And we say, and we'll call you back. And what it does is 2 things. One, it stops them from going down the street to your competitor. That's the first big one, right? Because really it's funny, this absolution of requirement is what it is. Like, how when you call Delta on the phone, they said, it's going to be a 90-minute wait. And you're like, oh, and they go, but we'll call you back. And you go, yay.
Yeah.
And then you hang up the phone and then you miss the call. No, but basically what happens is it makes you feel better, like you did what you needed to do, and you get that off your plate. And even if they call you back the next day, what would have happened is you would have been relying on them to call you instead of you to call them.
I agree. We're checking it off the slate. We got a zillion thoughts going in our head. You're just happy you got it done with.
Exactly. You're ready to go. And on top of that, life happens. If you're depending on somebody looking at the phone number and calling it the next day, what if little Johnny running around the next morning stubs his toe, and then you got to pack lunches and get him out the door, and life happens, right? And all of a sudden, 4 weeks later, you're like, I never had my eye appointment, and that's literally what happens. And then the whole thing happens again. And maybe at that point in time, you're the #1 result in Google again, and maybe you get them to come back. because they definitely didn't save you on your phone, right?
Wait,
So that's kind of
wait a sec. Okay, so when we call people back, a lot of times they don't answer their phone.
Yep.
Which is kind of nice on a complainer. I mean, I call
Yeah.
and they can see I called. They just never answer their phone,
Yep.
and that's kind of frustrating. But do you tell them, look, we're going to call you back, so just monitor for this number?
Yep, that's what we do. We're very specific with what you want to do. So if you want to tell them that, hey, do you expect the call from this number? We'll be calling you tomorrow. We'll call you on Monday. So sometimes people message it on a Saturday or maybe a Friday late at night, and the next time you're going to call them back is Monday morning.
Yep.
We set those expectations. On top of that, the other thing is that we ask you, how do you want to deal with emergency patients? A lot of people forget about that.
Yeah.
Because what's interesting, the first thing people do when they have an emergency or they're looking for an emergency doctor is they're going to your website, right? And then what happens is we have to ask you that. So you will tell us, hey, do you want to, are you okay with new patients being emergencies, or are you just okay with existing? Okay, we get that out of the way. The next piece is that we say, what do you want us to do? Well, usually what we do is we collect their information real quick, name, phone number, email address. And the reason we do that is even after we provide them your emergency number, a lot of times they won't call, which is really weird to think about. But you still, as a practitioner, probably want to follow up with that person, because there's nothing cooler than having a problem, solving it, and your doctor calling the next day to be like, hey, just want to make sure you're okay. They remember that stuff forever.
So it's kind of like an answering service in some ways for that.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. So in worst case scenario, you're able to guide them based on, we don't make clinical recommendations, right? But we will tell people, hey, if this is a true emergency, you should call 911 or something like that, right? Or we can provide them, I don't know how many doctors do this, but a lot of doctors will just put their cell phone number on their voicemail, which good for those doctors. That's great. But that's also how you get salespeople to call you all the time on that cell
My
phone.
glasses ready at midnight. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to go back to when you said, how the time on our website, is that Google then, does that go to a Google statistic? Because when people are under 11 minutes, that's phenomenal. Usually time on site is, a matter of seconds or a minute or something. So explain how you let Google know that.
Yeah, so it's great because it's automatic. So what's interesting is all of your websites will have Google having crawled them. Now, how well they crawled it depends on how well they built the website, obviously. But hopefully they've built it a decent amount, so they'll have crawled it well. Now, what you just mentioned is actually the most difficult thing to modify on a website ever. It's so much so that nobody ever messes with it, right? Especially on dental. Like, we'll put videos on there, which all of you should have videos on there, because that increases time on site and people watch it. But at the same time, that's about it. So
it's called bounce rates.
Bounce
Most
rate.
of us have really high bounce rates. Probably 89-90% of people that arrive on your website are leaving within 3 seconds, because there's nothing to do on our website except find a phone number, and that's it.
That's it. And on top of that, then they see it and they're like, maybe I'll call, and it's 9:30 and you don't even answer. That's the word. Or maybe it is 12 noon and you're busy. I did that today. I called. My back is hurting like crazy right now. I call a spine group, and it's so frustrating to offer a solution to fix this and not be able to do it. So I called in. I went through this awful phone tree. After I got through the phone tree, the person gave me this is a secure voice message system. So I left the voice message. Then I went to their website, and there was an email form. And then they closed at 4 o'clock on their phones. And I'm like, what is happening right now? You can't deal with that. So like you were saying, this website, it's the biggest spine group in Indiana. They're literally called the Spine Group, and they can't get this together. So what's wild is that you're absolutely right. The average amount of time spent on a dental website, on an optometry website, on a medical website is 15 seconds. It's 15 to 18 seconds. So you have 15 seconds to basically show them what they need to know and to convince them to schedule. I dare every doctor or just practice owner or office manager that's on this call to go to your website right now. And if you can find the insurances that you cover on your website within 15 seconds, I'll give you a month free of this. I promise. And you can lie to me, okay? But anyway, like that's what it is. It's so difficult to do. Most of you don't even know your website address, right? So what happens though is when you add chat to it.
You are talking optometrists, so that's probably true. So.
Yeah, right. So, but you're right. When you add chat to it, all of a sudden your average time goes from 15 seconds to over 3 minutes. And what happens is Google looks at it and goes, these people actually want to be there. and you skyrocket in the SEO rankings. Absolutely. It's
They
something
don't
that,
say, wait a second, it's an outlier because they're a Simplify customer.
yeah, I mean, they don't even have to look at that. They look at just time on site, that you're there more often.
That's a big one.
Everybody has Google Analytics connected, or should have Google Analytics connected to your website, even if it's old. If you don't get that installed right away, we have
First, they should say claim your site.
yeah. We have a question from Taylor C. Do you want to answer that?
Let's see here. Can both our front desk and your team respond, or you have to choose one or the other? It's actually just our team. And I'll tell you, Taylor, why you don't want to try this. So we've tried that. We actually opened up our system so we could let other team members do it. And what we found was that it was just all about that time to conversion. So we watched the conversion stats on an office managed chat drop off the table back to that 11% or maybe even lower, because people actually got mad because people weren't replying to them. So what we found is by us answering and getting back to them within 7 seconds every time, it's better, so much so that maybe I don't answer to the exact perfect way that your front desk can, but I can get close enough that it's worth me getting that lead to you right away. And on top of that, we represent your brand basically perfectly. So what we'll be able to do is we can actually hop on there, answer all those questions, and you'd be surprised. That's why I always say, I tell people, try it out, because, and you'll see how the system learns over time. And really it's just people learning, right? And you learning how to teach us. So you'll see how we can get more and more detailed over time. And everybody's really pleasantly surprised at that.
Do we have somebody that's linked to our account specifically? You know what I mean? Or is
Like an
it
account manager?
Oh yeah.
Somebody that knows, okay, I answer most of these questions from Realize Center, instead of, okay, well, there's the Romanian one and the one in Czechoslovakia because their time is right. And people that are difficult to understand, because
yeah. So remember, all of our people are here in the US.
We have an American here. We don't understand heavy accents over the phone. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the funny part, is that nobody has an accent while they're typing. But at the same time, is that all of our panel, all of our people answering these are here in the US. Just so you guys know, we don't go overseas or anything like that, which is nice. But yeah, no. So every single person gets an account manager. So whether it's Jordan, whether it's Caroline, or something like that over our place, we've got a lot of account managers. And the other cool thing is that we use chat ourselves, right? So you can actually go on there, click on the chat with us live, and you'll talk with one of us. We'll answer that question. If you're like, hey, I need to answer, put holiday hours on my survey. Cool. You can do it yourself if you want to, or what you do is you just tell us and we put it on for you. No big deal.
Can we get in? Let's get in.
Let me ask this. So now, so Damon, I'm sure spent a lot of time on that. So can you anonymize it and say, oh yeah, you have a dry eye practice. Here's like 40 other things to plug in. Can you pick and choose or modify the paragraphs, let's say, kind of like an on-hold message?
Yeah, best practice.
You don't want to reinvent the wheel, rewrite all those things. And don't say it's Damon's, but just say, okay, make it easy for us.
Yeah, no, we definitely have best practices.
Okay, good.
So yeah, we definitely do. If we look for suggestions on surveys, the other thing that we do, you got to remember this, and this is where the artificial intelligence comes in. And what we do is we look at what results, the kind of conversations that result in a thumbs up or a thumbs down experiment. Okay. So, this last year we had 3 million chats that we held. And we're able to look at that data and look at the phraseology that we're utilizing. And we can actually look and propose that to our chatters to actually utilize that same language with your patients. And some of it might be, odd or forward, but you'll be like, wow. I mean, there's a reason. When I first started chatting, if it tells you anything, I was the first chatter, right? And I was converting people at 35%. Now, non-doctors are doing it at 52%. So, and there's only one answer for that is the data. So yeah, great question. Oh, somebody asked, will you answer queries through Facebook and Instagram too? Great question. We actually have these really cool special things called activation links. So now what you're able to do on Instagram and on Facebook is you can put that link in there, chat with us live or schedule with us live. And when they click on that, it's automatically going to take you to that chat, pop it up and say, hey, welcome from Instagram or welcome from Facebook on there. So if you want to run a campaign on dry eyes, do it, right? Because our first response can be, hey, I see that you're wondering about our dry eyes. And they're like, what the hell just happened? And we were able to answer all those questions. It's pretty sweet.
Cool. We should probably get into the numbers portion. I know one person wants to know, is it monthly? Is it yearly? So let's get into that stuff.
Yeah. So awesome. So one of the questions was how we do it. So we're month to month. That's one of the big ones. And actually, one of the things that we're doing for the entrepreneur group is we're doing a 30-day trial for all the people that are watching today. So if you're curious about all of this, I tell you, worst case scenario, we'll send you a bunch of new patients and you're like, it's not for me. Okay, cool. That's fine too. Right. Or what we can do is we can actually help you look at, is your marketing working? Because our monster only eats if you feed it. Right. So if your marketing is not up to par, we can at least tell you, hey, you need to focus on your SEO or focus here. And we'll work with you. And we have great groups that we work with on those pieces as well. We don't do it personally, but there's a bunch of really good ones out there. But yeah, if you go to Simplify, Perry just put it in the chat there. If you go to simplify.com or .co, doesn't matter, simplify.com/eyes, then what you can do is you can actually hop on there. You'll see all the different stuff we do. One of them that we have on there too that we can talk about later is our revenue cycle management or payments piece, which is huge and groundbreaking. We actually offer 0% merchant rates. So if that gets anybody's attention, it's kind of cool. We found out how to do that. There we go. I'm opening a new practice in 3 months. Can I take advantage of your monthly trial then? Absolutely. And I would tell the person that's opening up their new practice, what you want to do. We've seen this time and time again, and it works so well. What you do is start your website up 2 months ahead of time. So work with your person, get it up 2 months ahead of time, throw live chat on there and start scheduling patients now. There's never been a better time to be booked out for 3 months. Okay. Who cares if you're not open, right? You're packed to the gills with new patients. Book them for that first month. We can be your front desk. And that's what's so cool about that. You can be the one to call them back up, right? Even say, hey, just wanted to introduce myself. I'm the doctor, whatever it might be. They'll think it's the coolest thing ever. And really it's because you don't have a front desk yet, but we can be that front desk team who's loading your schedule up. Because I think the thing that scares people the most is when you open your doors on the first day and you don't have a single patient. So you don't be that person. Be the person that has an entire book ready to go. And what's cool is, it's one of those things. We work with new practices all the time, and we'll work with you as well on that piece.
Cool. What's the price? Do we have a price?
Oh, yes. Yeah, absolutely. So we charge $349 per month per location. If you have multiple locations, obviously that comes down. But it's simple, so basically it's the cheapest front desk employee that you've ever seen, and we don't get sick, and we work 24/7, which is pretty cool. And, if we get you one new patient, it pays for more than the month. And if we get you two, it's really, really cool. And just to let you know, we average 10 to 15 new patients per month, depending on how much you do. Some people are less, some people are more, but it's completely up to how you guys do it.
Yeah,
some of them are way more.
Yeah, we're definitely around more than 30 patients booked last month. So
very cool.
But some of it was like interest. I think it was not only the patients. We're booked. My dad's practice has been around 40 years, so it's not like we're booked. We don't have a problem acquiring patients.
Yep.
We're more interested in. We're so busy. The phone rings nonstop. We got one front desk, and the techs and the opticians are all answering the phone.
Yeah.
So,
and that's what I tell people too.
For us is we got a patient chat, and they said, I'm interested in dry eye. I've been to the doctor down the street. They mentioned the doctor's practice name. They said they got iLux, which is a dry eye procedure. I mean, they went into detail. And it was just good to know, like, okay, these patients found me XYZ reasons, and that's good for marketing purposes. So you know what your competition's doing and how you kind of like want to plan your marketing around that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing what you can glean from these chats. And, it's funny. There's a lot of people that say, hey, look, I'm booked out 3 months. And they actually are, which is great. Right. But the other thing that live chat does, it also allows us to do a lot of triaging. Right. So look, if you don't want new glasses patients, okay, what I'll do is I'll look for just dry eye, and I can calmly broom whoever you really don't want in your practice. Because I always tell people, if I found a $5,000 patient, would you open up your schedule? And they're like, yeah, heck yeah, let's do this thing.
Yeah.
So that's the piece that we always tell people, or even better yet, just making it easier for your patients. I know we all love to have a good 25-minute phone call for no reason, but at the same time, just make it simple for them. Make it easy for them to come on there. There's a stat that I always show that patients are 30% more likely to look for another doctor if you don't have online booking, which is crazy if you think about it. That's pretty intense. You can be the best doctor on earth, but you know what wins? Convenience. Just because patients don't know that you're the best doctor on earth and they assume that the next doctor will be just as good. Don't put yourself in that situation. Just make it easy for you.
So it's really all about the user interface and the user experience.
Absolutely.
And that kind of, and your website should match your office in terms of the UX and UI. And I think this shows responsiveness. It shows we're ready for them. We're happy to see them. We're welcoming, instead of thinking, oh, another appointment. That's just more work for us. I mean, that may be what your staff is not saying, but it may be the tone.
Yep, absolutely. And we can even pass them, if you have electronic forms, I think iSearches of Indiana does this, we can pass them the electronic forms ahead of time, right? A lot of times, you'll tell people, oh, go to our website and find the electronic forms. It's so hard to find, right? So, we're able to just pass them that link, say, fill it out, and be good to go. So it's cool.
Well, Perry, do we have any other questions here? I don't want to keep people.
Yeah, no, I think that's really it. My advice to you is, whether you think the price is a steal or really expensive, do the trial and see for yourself if it's worth it for you.
Yeah.
That's the simple answer. And set up, literally, it took me 20 minutes to get set up to answer the survey. You will need whoever manages your website, whether it's yourself or an agency, to install the code on your website. Do you want to explain that?
Yeah, so what we do is we create a little snippet of code. It's about 3 lines of code. It's about like this big if you look at it on the screen. And all they have to do is literally copy paste that into the header of the website. It's so easy that most website companies don't even charge for it. They'll literally copy paste it right in the header, and it takes them literally 30 seconds. And we actually work with all website companies. So a lot of times people will be like, oh, do you work with my website? Do you work with my website? We are compatible with all those website companies, and you're good to go. So we just give you that code, and we probably actually have already utilized your website company to paste that stuff up there. So it's very easy to do.
How long are the chats archived for?
Forever. So we keep them on there for as long as you guys are customers. And the other cool thing is that even if you stop being a customer, you can actually download all the chats and save them yourselves and put them right in the chart. So we don't try to make it so you're captive of the cloud or anything like that. Yeah, which is always a pain. So we take care of that, so you can download everything, put them right in the chart. And we recommend that too, because a lot of times the front desk deals with those chats, but we want the doctor to read them too. So before you walk into that room, you can pull it up in your document center in your EHR and go, oh, look, here's everything that they asked about. Now you walk in there very knowledgeable, and it's very interesting. Even your nurses or your assistants sometimes can't glean that information out of them that the chat does. Sometimes they do, which is great.
Yeah, cool. Well, I learned a lot, and I thought I'm a user of the software, and now I'm glad Dr. Wall mentioned Instagram and Facebook. We don't get a lot of messages, but I was like, that's cool, because that's definitely a modern communication method.
Yeah,
so.
It's free. That's the best part about it. So, and the more active you are on it, you'd be surprised. Just do those stories. The stories is where it's at on there. A couple of my buddies are, they have like 30, or I think it's up to like 60,000 followers, and he's an orthodontist. I promise you it's not that cool, right? And I'm an orthodontist, and I think it's cool. Right. So yeah, it's definitely not cool, but it works. He has people flooding in, and I don't care where you are. He's kind of in the middle of nowhere, Oklahoma too, and it works for him. So who knows?
What kind of stuff is he putting on there in his stories? Real
life stuff, like the going to work part, the getting ready for work. Yeah. So, and somebody says, did you say stories? Yeah, it's those. If you have Instagram, let's see if I pull this up. It's this part of it. So at the very top, so there's somebody's cat on here, or dog. So it's these things up here. So like if I tap on our story, like this is a simplified story. We always do cribs where we see the remote working location of people. And there you go. I like some shoes. So That's the story. So like basically they are there and they're gone the next day, but people like to follow those, but you can put links on them. So if you want to, you can say schedule an appointment or like on my way to work. And the other thing is when you record your story, this is turned into a social media tutorial, but record them like this because people think that they're talking to you. So there's more engagement. Don't ever have somebody record you doing it. Record yourself doing it because people feel like they're having a conversation that's more engaging. There you go.
Vertically.
Vertically. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. We don't want the double chin and all that stuff.
Yeah. You say, hey guys, good to see you again.
All right. Well, awesome, Dr. Hungate. We'll have to have you back on. You have some other cool tech, and that's like a whole nother hour. So we'll schedule you back in maybe a couple months.
Sounds good.
If people just want to like email you, can they do that?
Of course. Yeah, they can definitely do that.
If put that in the chat.
Yeah, absolutely. Here, I'll put my thing in there. There you go. But yeah, no, I'm always open. I love to chat about all this stuff, and it's a lot of fun. So yeah, hit me up if you have questions about that, 3D printing or any of the other fun stuff I like to do. I'd love to chat about it.
Cool.
Very good. I would say for the people that are on this right now, tell other people, we know everybody is super busy and they're trying to get their practices going in 2021 here. It's hard to get everyone's attention on a Wednesday night. Some people go to church, some people have other activities, but I know there's what? Tuesday, especially because Wednesday they're really busy and they're watching election things and all sorts of stuff here. So I'm already preparing for tomorrow. So it's a busy time, but I think this can help our colleagues, and that's what entrepreneurs are all about. We want to help everybody out, help them make their practice simplify, right? And make it passive. I love, if you get passive income or if you get everything that doesn't require a lot of effort, I mean, that's kind of nice,
Yeah. Somebody always told me, the goal should always be to make money while you sleep, right? If you can pull that off, you've done something right. And this is one of those ways where you can actually do that and actually give a great experience to those patients because they're getting it everywhere else. Right? That's the biggest thing. They're already seeing this everywhere else. You're just kind of giving them what they're experiencing and kind of expecting, whether they know it or not, in your practice. And it's a leg up on competition as well.
Customer service is everything. I had a silly post on our Facebook group about who's better, Chick-fil-A or Popeye's spicy sandwich. All right, what do we know about Chick-fil-A? They have the best customer service in fast food. Yep. I don't care if you disagree with their politics. We're not going to get into that. But my pleasure. They're all clean cut people. They got people in the drive-through handing out all the sauces. I mean, they are prepared, and our practices need to be prepared too.
Yep, absolutely. No, you're absolutely right. And carrying that through in every single aspect of your practice is a giant thing. Well, cool.
All right. Well, have a good night, everybody. Happy New Year. Make some money. Get your vaccine. And any final words, Dr. Brill?
Well, I'd say that when we're talking about passive income, I'm thinking investments. And this is really an investment. It's investment in your website, getting higher rankings. It's investment in spending money to make money, because a lot of times you have to leverage that. Yep. And while a lot of people don't want to spend the money, it's a downward spiral if you don't. So try it out. You can see Ryan's a really great guy here. He's super innovative, and he fits into our definition of a wizard of eyes. Okay, and that's what we call entrepreneur, the wizard of eyes. And Dr. Hungate is definitely a wizard. He's figured out things, and let's learn from other professions. I mean, we learned how to pre-appoint from dentistry. Isn't it right? I mean, so dentistry, you can't never leave a dentist off without your next appointment. So we've been doing that for a long time. So thank you, dentistry, for helping us make appointments.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where, I think adding this to your, like you said, it's one of those things where a lot of times we buy something, but it's already been commoditized, like appointment reminders and things like that. And yes, it's definitely an increase on your investment. This is one of those things where you feel really good because you just see an actual tangible who came in. Like a lot of times people will make investments in certain places and go, well, what did you do? Well, I got you a lot of new patients. They're like, who? They're like, I don't know. Right? That's the majority of the things out there. Now
They
you
got
can
you a
say,
lot
hey,
of clicks. They got you clicks.
yeah, clicks,
They
which
got
you
you
know,
Impression.
which is word. I got you impressions. You think like, what the hell? What's an
yeah.
impression
Did they
word?
glance at it? Yeah.
I mean, can I put an ROI on impressions?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
our website really is good. Well, look at the impressions you got. I'm thinking, no,
Yeah. And that's where it comes in. Now I can say, hey, look, I sent you Tom Smith. He came in, and on top of that, he was asking about dry eye. And you go, oh, okay, that makes sense. So you can actually look at it, quantify it, put it in the back of your head. If we have an integration with your system, you can actually see the money that they generated too, which is pretty exciting.
that's good. And
Cool.
maybe you could do the downline. Can you measure the downline too?
Yeah, exactly. It's called matchback. That's what we call it. Yep.
Matchback. Okay, I'll need some training on this stuff here.
Yep. No problem.
Because we used to call it spillage. I mean, so you've got one patient in, and how many did they refer, and how many, and likewise. So that would be really good at actually a good experiment, just to write a little paper on. So
yeah,
okay,
I'd love to do that.
all right. Thank
Cool.
you everybody for being on, and we will see you. When's the next?
Oh, we're going to have one on the 19th at 8:30 Eastern again. This one is going to be one about why to not buy eyewear for your opticals from big box brands and to support independent frame companies. I have 6 small frame vendors on. By small, one's doing $30 million in business and one's not doing quite that. And we always think of small business, real small, $500,000 in revenue. But so we're going to talk about independent eyewear, where to buy it, how to sell it, and why you don't need these lousy big box brands. So
I love it.
all right, guys, have a good evening.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks.